Alan, a hot hatch.
Not just any hot hatch, David, it's a GR hot hatch. This is the Toyota GR Corolla.
Alan, it's busy. Is that good or bad?
I think in this case it's busy. If I'm going to pay this kind of money, I want busyness. So,
Yes.
for example, these piano black vents here in the top of the bonnet, you can see the light move off it as you're driving along. Yeah, I really like that. And these headlights are quite fine for Toyota headlights, but there's a big old chunk of grille there, isn't there?
Yes,
Quite a lot of cooling.
It's almost getting BMW or Lexus type grille.
I don't think they've quite gone that phase. Certainly not as far as Lexus, but the BMW. So where cooling is important, as it is in this car, David, what engine have we got in this?
3 cylinders.
3 cylinders. It's a 1.6.
Turbo, of course.
It is, and it's got that throaty sound. You know, that it sounds a little bit like one of those motorcycles, like a Triumph.
Yes.
Has that
It
sound.
Not necessarily deep,
No.
because it's not a huge engine.
And I can't drive this car by ear like I do other cars, or any other 3-cylinder for that matter. It always sounds like it's kind of labouring, but it's not. And the side view, I think, is where this looks, because I think the normal Corolla is a fairly attractive car anyway for a Corolla, but this has added a few facets.
More so with the angular bits, I think, is more prominent here.
Well, I mean, that's clearly an add-on, whereas this is a completely new mudguard, but it's done that to accommodate a wider track, bigger tyres and all of that sort of stuff. And I think these wheels, the multiple spoke thing, I think that looks particularly attractive.
Well, it brings out the caliper colour and a nice big brake.
But I think there's a lot of other things, you know, the vent here, which helps for cooling and airflow and all of that sort of stuff. And this massive skirt with GR4 on it. David, what is GR4?
Yes, 4-wheel drive.
4-wheel drive. And this is particularly clever. We'll show you when we get inside, but this is particularly clever. You can select how much power you want going to front or back.
The grey colour, I think, makes it stand out in that way you were talking about. I had a richer, redder colour one, and I thought it blended in a little bit more, whereas you're saying this stands out a bit, which is what you want.
Well, I think it makes it look all dark and brooding. And I think if you're going to pay this sort of money, you want dark and brooding. Now, you know, as I said, it's going for a lot more money registered at dealers than it is
buying it off
on the
floor.
RRP. And what that meant, there were only 700 of these, and I think even less of the Morizo edition. And, you know, so you'll be waiting a very long time for the next batch. So what have we got around the back? From the back, this just looks like any other Corolla hatch, except for 3 exhausts. This is a bespoke bumper bar and guards to accommodate for the wider track. The rear sets off my OCD, David. It's got 3 exhausts. I either want 4 or 2. I realise there's 1 for each cylinder, but it drives me mad.
It would at least look symmetric, although it's got one big one sort of in the middle, although the diameters, I think, are
Yeah,
about
I
the
mean,
same.
that whole diffuser thing, that's a whole lot of fuss. And these are supposed to be rally cars, the Bates boys, you know, sort of rally cars, but this looks nothing like the rally car. They've got extra height and they've got all sorts of stuff. This really is done for track. Other than that, it looks like the normal Corolla hatch that's been modded by modder. It's got all of the things that you need for daily driving though. It's got cameras everywhere, great reversing camera. It's got washers and all of that sort of stuff. Plus it's got all the safety gear, which I think is essential. And it's got a decent size hatch though. That floor is very high.
It's got a little bit of storage under there, Al.
Yeah, under the floor is just the repair kit and actually the batteries in the back of this one, so it goes to show you how tight under the bonnet is. Also, and this is what I like as well, there's a button under here to lock the doors. So if the key's in your pocket, you just pull the hatch down and then reach under there and lock it so that you don't have to schlep around to the front to use the locker on the door handle.
Oh, good.
Oh, you've made a complete pig's breakfast of that. Now that seat is set for me.
I got to tell you, my feet fit under there. This isn't a lot of room, but I'm not uncomfortable. I feel a little cramped by this.
Yeah, but on a long trip though, I mean...
Oh, yeah.
And in the back, David, a 12-volt outlet and a USB, which I think is terribly important for people sitting in the back who want to charge. But you're not without luxuries in the back. There's at least a cup holder in the back. Probably take a bottle as well. As we take off, the first thing that you notice is that this has, just up here at the top, there's a hole in the top of the dash. That's where the heads-up display projects from to come up onto the windscreen. There's a digital dash in front of David. I'd say that's 12 inches-ish and some change. And there's a, 7-inch thing. You're quite right, this is a little bit old, but it does everything though, and there's still plenty of real estate. The other thing, David, is that unlike the GR Yaris last week, this CarPlay is wireless.
Ah.
Yeah. You've got drive modes down below. There's a couple of things that I think they put in this to make it a little bit better value for money, because it's not all about performance. I mean, it is all about performance, but you want to be comfortable as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the head unit is a JBL unit as well. That comes from the Harman Group. And below that, dual zone air conditioning, some physical buttons, which I like that. I like being able to just hit something, put the inside air on, put the inside air off, that kind of thing, and vents that you can easily point to places. The good thing about this is you can actually get a really comfortable seating position, and because these seats have that suede Alcantara fabric, it kind of grips you, so you've got good bolsters and good support, but you've also got good grip, and I think it's essential to have good grip.
And it's easy to drive without it being rough.
Right, so now you're in cruise control.
Yes.
And we're on that bit of road with the dodgy markings. We've got active steering, which is really unusual in a sports car, to have the safety features with the active blind spot monitor, active lane centering and so forth. Doesn't it just make you smile? No? It doesn't make you smile?
Well, once I get used to it. This is a classic problem of a manual gearbox. The driver remains aware of what's happening, whereas the passenger...
It's a good thing though, isn't it?
Well, for the driver.
Well, that's what I like though. I feel like I'm connected to the road.
Oh.
I can feel the undulations. I can feel it through my bum, but I can also feel it through my feet. And if I was to hold the gear knob like so, I can feel it through the gearbox as well. An automatic transmission, as much relief as that gives you in town in traffic, that is quite firm. As much as it gives you relief in traffic, I really do think it disconnects you from the road.
I think it also disconnects you from an understanding of the speed of the engine as relevant to the speed of the car. At 7,000 revs, you're not going to get a real purposeful engine noise until you get above 5, probably.
No, it does change a little when you put it into sport. You missed a gear then, Joyce.
Yeah. Try pushing this little lever.
I do so hate it when you try and teach your grandmother to suck eggs. Toyota is number 1 on the top 10 again this month, I notice.
Well, they're bouncing back. Now, they were 21% of the market, but late last year they dropped to about 14% for a month.
Yeah, but David, they were still selling double the next two put together.
Yeah, they were certainly dominating the market. I think Mazda and that are around 8 to 9%. Yeah.
And of course, we've just gone past 1 million sales, which is a record for October.
Yeah.
Well, David, to wrap up, GR Corolla, I think it does everything it says on the box. It doesn't write checks it can't cash. The suspension is pliable enough to be used daily without turning your insides into soup.
Yeah.
I think it's just a lovely thing. What about you?
Handling, I just love the handling.
Superb. Absolutely
That,
superb.
as I've said, it not only does well in a corner, but if the corner changes radius or does any of those things.
It just goes in without. And do you know what else I like?
Oh, a
Proper
handbrake.
handbrake.
Ah.
Eh? That's all this week from Toyota's GR Corolla GTS. I think it's a perler. I think it is a peach. The time has come for us to say goodbye. So hit like,
Leave a comment.
and I think just around over there somewhere, hit the little round dot to subscribe.